Hi, and welcome to the Summit Schools Community Talk Series. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth White, and I'm the Summit Resource Center Coordinator. Through its Resource Center, the Summit School hosts talks and now podcasts designed to bring relevant, timely, and actionable information to parents and educators. We want to raise awareness of children with learning differences and connect families to available resources. This is our first podcast, and in anticipation of October being Dyslexia Awareness Month, we will be discussing dyslexia. Yes, we will talk about myths and truths, and we will discuss prevalence and why it's important parents recognize early warning signs. First, let me introduce you to Dr. Joan Mealy McCarthy. Dr. McCarthy serves as Executive Director for the Summit School and is an expert in the field of learning disabilities, as well as speech and language. She holds a Bachelor of Arts, Masters of Science, and Doctor of Arts degrees in speech and language pathology. She has been a college professor, clinician, consultant, and diagnostician. Dr. McCarthy serves on a number of professional governmental boards. She was appointed as the chair of the Governor's Task Force on the implementation of a dyslexia education program for the state of Maryland. Dr. McCarthy, thank you for being here. So to get us started, what is dyslexia and how prevalent is it?
Great questions. So dyslexia is a word-level reading disorder that results in children's difficulty with sounding out words. So they don't have a good sense of sounds within words and the letters that map those sounds, and they have difficulty sounding it out. And dyslexia is neurobiological. In other words, it's a brain-based issue, and it's genetic. It runs in the family.
I actually didn't know it ran in the family.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So absolutely, when we look at learning disabilities, 80 to 90% of children who are referred for learning disabilities in the public schools have reading difficulties. And of those reading difficulties, prevalent 80 to 90% children have decoding difficulties. In other words, they can't figure out the words. The other thing is it does affect anywhere from 5 to 17% depending upon research. We kind of settle on about 10% of the population. So if you have a class of 30, expect 3 children to struggle in this way. But that's just a rule of thumb. And it is prevalent through the lifespan. So even though we know how to intervene and we know how to teach children how to read who struggle in this way, there are other soft signs, there are other processing things that people struggle with through the lifespan, and they learn how to cope with and deal with, and they learn workarounds. So people with dyslexia live wonderful lives, are able to reach their dreams and potentials. It's not a death knell of a life of unachieved expectations. It is just there in terms of the processing. But when children learn how to read and spell and write, the world is their oyster. So it does persist through the lifespan, but it doesn't mean that the reading difficulties and the spelling difficulties and the writing difficulties have to persist. It does exist along a continuum, so children can be very mildly affected to very deeply dyslexic.
Okay.
And then children with dyslexia don't outgrow it. It's there, even though their reading is quote-unquote remediated. Those little soft signs, processing things like working memory or sequencing or even spelling glitches still persist. And thank goodness for technology, because it helps with all of that.
Yeah.
So those are absolutely true facts supported by research.
Okay, great. So, Dr. McCarthy, what do you hear from parents who have received a diagnosis of dyslexia for their children?
So it's interesting. Parents all of a sudden just sit and look at you, and their shoulders kind of deflate, and they say, at least now I know. My child isn't stupid. My child isn't lazy. My child isn't being non-compliant. They just can't do it. And a lot of times they well up, even the dads. They well up. And then they start to kick themselves and say, why didn't I do this earlier? I should have known earlier. And my response is, you're here now. And now we're going to take a journey to help your child overcome this and to learn about who he is as a learner, because that's really important. And it's okay, because your child's going to be fine.
Yep.
Now you know, and your child will know. So it's all good.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. McCarthy. This is great, especially for a parent whose child is struggling with reading. For parents who would like to know more, please visit our website, www.thesummitschool.org. You can also join us for a community talk. You can register to attend, or you can view a recording by visiting our website. You can always contact the Summit School about Summit resources. You can contact myself, the Resource Center Coordinator. You can contact Nancy Rhodes, our Director of Admissions, or Dr. Joan McCarthy, our Executive Director. Thank you.
Thank you.